On the morning of August 23, at approximately 9:30 a.m., a tragic accident occurred at a construction site during the initial setup of a crane for the project's first lift. While preparing the crane to lift roof trusses, the rigging came into contact with overhead power lines carrying 13,200 volts of electricity. The employee operating the crane was electrocuted and sustained fatal electrical burns. OSHA's investigation revealed several violations of crane operation safety standards, emphasizing the need for proper planning, training, and equipment use to prevent such tragedies. The crane lacked adequate cribbing, or blocking, beneath its outriggers. Federal OSHA requires that the size, condition, and method of stacking the crane's blocking materials are sufficient to sustain the intended load and maintain crane stability. Proper cribbing is critical for ensuring the crane's balance, particularly when performing lifts that require precise maneuvering near power lines or other hazards. In this case, the improper cribbing posed a significant struck-by and crushing hazard, increasing the risk of crane tip-over during operations. The investigation also revealed that the crane operator was not certified by an accredited, nationally recognized certification agency. Operating a crane without proper certification exposed workers to struck-by and electrocution hazards, as the operator lacked the necessary training and expertise to manage risks effectively. Certification ensures that crane operators are qualified to understand site-specific hazards, including proximity to power lines, and are skilled in implementing safe operating procedures. Most importantly, OSHA discovered that the employer had allowed the crane to be operated within 20 feet of the 13.2 kilovolt overhead power lines. OSHA standards for crane operations specify safe clearance distances between a crane's fully extended boom and high-voltage power lines to prevent electrocution hazards. The employer should have enforced proper safety measures, such as de-energizing the power lines, rerouting them, or using a spotter to guide crane operations safely. These preventive actions could have eliminated the risk of contact and protected the employee. This tragic incident underscores the importance of strict adherence to OSHA's crane operations safety standards. Employers must ensure that crane blocking materials are adequate to stabilize the equipment under all anticipated loads, minimizing the risk of crane tipovers. Crane operators must be certified by recognized agencies, ensuring they possess the necessary knowledge to assess hazards, follow safety protocols, and handle complex equipment. Lastly, maintaining a safe clearance from overhead power lines is essential to prevent electrocution. Employers should also explore additional measures, such as de-energizing power lines, using insulating barriers, or assigning spotters for enhanced safety. By learning from these violations and implementing proper safety measures, employers can protect workers from life-threatening hazards associated with crane operations. This case serves as a somber reminder of the devastating consequences of failing to comply with OSHA standards. On the morning of May 28, an employee at a civil engineering construction company was working to disassemble a crane boom for a project that had recently concluded. The task required removing 4 pins that secured the midsection of the crane's lattice boom. At approximately 9 a.m., while removing the 3rd pin, the unsupported boom section suddenly collapsed onto the worker, fatally crushing them. An OSHA investigation revealed that critical safety protocols for crane assembly and disassembly had been neglected, resulting in the catastrophic incident. These violations highlighted a lack of adherence to manufacturer guidelines, supervision requirements, and safe work practices during crane disassembly. Federal OSHA safety standards require employers to comply with the manufacturer's instructions for assembling and disassembling cranes. In this case, the employer failed to ensure that the worker followed the manufacturer's prescribed methods for safely removing pins and disassembling the lattice boom. Manufacturer instructions typically outline step-by-step procedures designed to prevent uncontrolled or dangerous movement of crane components. Deviating from these guidelines significantly increases the risk of collapse or other mechanical failures. Additionally, the employer failed to designate a qualified and competent person to supervise the crane's disassembly. Supervisors must have the training and expertise to recognize hazards, direct safe procedures, and ensure compliance with both OSHA regulations and manufacturer specifications. Without adequate supervision, the disassembly process was conducted improperly, placing the worker directly in harm's way. A competent person could have identified the dangers of removing the pins without securing the boom section and prevented the incident. Lastly, the worker removed pins from the crane's boom section without using blocking or cribbing to secure the components and prevent collapse. OSHA safety standards explicitly prohibit workers from positioning themselves directly beneath crane components, such as the boom, jib, or lattice, when removing pins or similar devices. Blocking or cribbing provides essential structural support, ensuring that crane sections remain stable during assembly and disassembly. The absence of these safety measures allowed the boom section to fall, resulting in the fatal crushing injury. This devastating incident underscores the critical importance of adhering to OSHA safety standards for assembling and disassembling cranes. Employers must ensure that workers strictly follow the manufacturer's instructions during the assembly and disassembly process. These guidelines are designed to mitigate risks and ensure the structural stability of crane components. Additionally, the presence of a designated competent person is essential during crane operations to identify potential hazards and enforce safe practices. Finally, always use blocking and cribbing when removing pins or other securing devices to prevent unintended movement or collapse of crane components, and never position yourself beneath crane components during assembly, disassembly, or maintenance tasks. By implementing these safety measures and fostering a culture of compliance, employers can protect workers from the life-threatening risks associated with crane operations.
In the early hours of March 12th, during a crane operation at a bridge construction site, an employee of a drilling company was working to secure and remove the rigging from the crane's auxiliary line. At 12:15 a.m., the worker was signaling to the crane operator to lower the auxiliary line so the rigging could be detached. Tragically, the crane's anti-two-block device fell from the top of the crane, striking the worker on the head. The employee suffered a fatal skull fracture from the impact and was pronounced dead on the scene.
OSHA's investigation revealed that critical safety measures were overlooked, exposing the workers to avoidable hazards. Federal safety standards require employers to ensure that cranes and all rigging equipment are configured and maintained according to the manufacturer's specifications before commencing operations. In this case, the crane's anti-two-block device, a critical safety mechanism designed to prevent the hook block from contacting the boom tip, was improperly secured. This failure caused the device to detach and fall, leading to the fatal incident. Properly adhering to the manufacturer's guidelines is essential to ensure the functionality of safety mechanisms like anti-two-block devices. Regular inspections and proper installation of such equipment could have prevented the device from failing and falling. OSHA also requires rigging cables to be clearly visible to crane operators and nearby employees. This allows the operator to monitor the position of the rigging during lifts and take corrective action to prevent dangerous situations like two-blocking. In this incident, the rigging cable was not adequately marked, limiting the crane operator's ability to judge its position. As a result, the operator could not detect the risk of two-blocking in time to prevent the auxiliary line's unintended movement, which contributed to the device's detachment. This case serves as a sobering reminder of the severe consequences of neglecting OSHA's critical safety requirements for crane operations. All crane components and safety devices must be installed, maintained, and operated in strict accordance with the manufacturer's instructions, and safety devices like anti-two-block systems are critical for preventing dangerous interactions between crane components. Rigging cables and other key crane elements must be clearly marked to ensure operators can easily monitor their positions. Additionally, employers must conduct thorough inspections of all cranes and rigging equipment before each use to identify and address potential mechanical issues or improper configurations. Crane operators and signal personnel must receive adequate training on how to identify hazards, recognize potential equipment failures, and understand proper signaling and operational procedures. By enforcing OSHA standards and fostering a culture of safety, employers can help prevent incidents like this and protect their workers.